to the Utah Puck Report. I'm your host, Jay Stevens from Amsterdam in Holland, in the Netherlands. Just
Wow.
enjoying a little family vacation. I got my good friend, head coach Andre Tourigny, Coach Bear. How are you, my friend?
Very good yourself.
Oh man, things are amazing. Things
That's
things are
good.
amazing. You
How's
know,
Amsterdam so far?
it's been amazing. Like
That's
I,
cool.
I did the river or the canal boat tour
Yeah.
today, and I've just been touring around with my family and just
Oh, that's good.
trying to make the most of it.
Uh,
And it's 1 year ago today that I first met you
there we go.
under the stairwell in the Delta Center, and I got to break the news that you were going to be the head coach for the World Championships for Team Canada.
You're right. You
And
did.
I just look back at this year and I'm like, man, for me it's been amazing. And
Yeah.
for you it's got to be
Uh,
crazy.
yeah. It's been amazing as well. I think on every level, on personal level, my family, the player, but the fans, the way they embrace our team and they welcome us and everything, and with the ownership, at the time we met, there were a lot of words. That will be awesome. The people will love you. The ownership will be great. Yeah, but I was kind of okay. I believe you, but now I see it for myself. Now I saw how Ryan and Ashley Smith treated us and how they treated the player, and I saw how the fans react with us on a daily basis, not just in the arena 41 time, everywhere in town and in the activity we had, or so on and so forth. It's been nothing but amazing.
Did the fan support kind of surprise you? Because
Yeah,
there was a lot of doubt going around on the internet and on the people that really know the NHL. They were like, "Oh, Utah's not a hockey market." Did
yep,
the fans here surprise you?
yeah, absolutely. And I remember we had that discussion with you and with Cole and the other, where we were saying, you know, we'll see how the people react. There's a lot of Jazz fan and stuff. And I think I don't know where those fans were hiding for that long, but I will tell you that there's a lot of hockey fans here. There's a lot of passion for hockey, and there's a lot of people who convert as well. There's a lot of people who we're talking to and say we're saying, "Hey, I went on my first game, and that was amazing, and now I'm hooked. I will be back and stuff like that." So I think that reception and that show of love for the team was amazing.
Yeah, it honestly surprised me too. And I was the biggest cheerleader. That's one of the
Yeah,
reasons Ryan and Ashley reached out to me is I was the cheerleader. I was like, we've got the fan base, we had the Eagles, we have the Grizzlies, and we have a fan base, but
yeah.
the way the new people came out, people that had never been to hockey before, that actually really impressed me. And the way they kind of, did you notice them mature as a fan group as the season went on,
Yeah.
or am I just making stuff up?
No, I agree with you, but I will say it right from the beginning. I've been around long enough. I've been in some market where they had no clue. They had to announce what was icing and this and that in the arena, and they had they had to educate the people. I thought that would look like that, and it was not like that at all. The people had much better base and understanding than, I don't know if that's what I was expecting, but whatever. I thought the knowledge was at a good enough level, and I think it grew during the season. I think they become more passionate about the team. I'm sure, and they follow the game and they follow the league, and they're way more knowledgeable now.
One of the things I've been trying to explain to the fan base, at least that listens to my show, that maybe doesn't understand as much is, we've got Keller and you've got Cooley, and you expect those guys to put up a ton of points.
Yeah.
But, the difference between line one and what you expect from line two and line three and line four, can you kind of tell us in your coaching style what you expect, what the differences are in the lines, what the expectations are? Why is being a second line center one of the hardest jobs in the NHL?
Yeah. Well, there's a few layers of what you're asking there. First of all, I think you need multiple ingredient to make a good team. You're following the NHL right now in the playoff, and you see third line, fourth line guy make difference in the game. You know, you saw Blackwell scored the overtime goal for Dallas. He was not even in the lineup game one. He scored the overtime goal in game two, and that happened in many series. You know, there's the depth is important. Often you will have obviously your first line more offensive player, star player, or so on and so forth. But you need to have uh, like I said, different level in your team. You need specialty on your special team. You need guys who can play against those elite player, you know, because sometimes you play elite player against elite player, but sometimes you play a more defensive player against certain elite players, depending on the style. If you look on our team, we have guys like Kevin Stanley and Alex Kerfoot on the fourth line who can be anytime on a higher role in the team, but they're so good defensively. They help us killing penalty, and any given night they can play against the top line on the other side. So that free up your elite player. When I use let's say the game against Winnipeg at home, I use Stanley, Bukestad, and Kerfy against the line of Scheifele, who's an elite line on the other side. That creates a few things. First of all, now Cooley, Keller, and Gunner don't have to play against those guys. Now they play against another line where it may give them a little bit a better fit for them, or an opportunity to play a little bit more offensively. That is one. Two, what it creates for Winnipeg is they often match the defensemen. So now they were matching their second or third pairing of defensemen against Stanley. So what that did, it did not put Morrissey on the same time on the ice than Scheifele. So now instead to have their best defenseman playing at the same time than your top line, it helped. So it helped defensively. It can be the same on our side, you will tell me, but that's why having depth and having line like Stanley can sometimes play to your advantage, and you need to use it at the right time. That's an example. But as well, you have the Bayners line, who will bring energy, physicality, get on the forecheck, bring a lot of tempo in the game. You will have lines with a guy like Liam O'Brien, who will bring energy, will spark the crowd, will spark your team, will be really structured, those kind of things. So you need more than one style of player in your team to win. And there's some style who can mix together and play together, but there's some style who are different. So if you play Keller with OB and Boehner, you won't get the best of Keller. But at the same time, if you play Donor with those guys, now you have a line who will bring really good energy and get on the forecheck and be tough to play against. And the same thing, and so on and so forth, if you go up. So that's a big thing of chemistry.
Yeah, to me, that's one of the things you're best at. And you and I have talked a little bit about my history with JP Parisi, and he always used the analogy of it takes a lot of craftsmen to build a house. You can't just have 10 carpenters and build a house.
No.
So, yeah, and that's perfect. That's a perfect example, and that's kind of what I've been wanting you to tell the fans. There's so many layers to what has to happen in the NHL, and I love watching you. Like I found a new seat in the Delta Center where I sit up above everything, and I get to see kind of the systems play out more. And I start watching you match stuff up, and I love watching you work. And speaking of that, like you've won at every level that you've coached at, and now you've got this off season where administration's going to go out and they're going to draft, and there's free agents out there, and I'm not going to ask any names, obviously, but what style of player do you think needs to be plugged in? Like I've got two that I've been saying on the radio and on the podcast for a long time, two guys. But what style of player do you think needs to be plugged into this system now to put them over the edge and put you into the playoffs?
You know, that's a good question, Jay. But the looks we have, or the situation we're in, and it's great because we have a good mix in our team. There's more than one style of player who can be had to our team. Sometimes you're in some example. Last year we were in tougher situation, in my opinion, because we needed defensemen.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. It's not because you have an opportunity to get a good left winger who was that's not what we needed. So it's we already have two car and now we want a third one. We're two in the house here. Why we need a third car? That's when we don't have other things in the house. So that's where we were. I think at this moment, if I look the toughness of our team, we're I think third in the league for number of fights. Where you look at our physicality, yeah, we can improve a little bit our physicality on our top six, which is it's not that easy to do, but that can be an area where an improvement. If you look at our D, we're pretty good. We have depth, we have buck
Yeah.
moving defensemen, we have experience. I like our D. I like where we stand. And we'll see with our goaltending. There's a lot who will depend about Higgie's situation and how's things going for him and stuff like that. So there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of a little bit premature stage right now to really know what will be the situation.
Yeah, and that's true. And I didn't want to touch the Connor Ingram thing.
Yeah.
We all just we want him to get
Yeah.
better. We want him to be healthy
1,000%.
and happy. Yeah.
And he's a great guy. He's a great human being. We want the best for him. So right now he's taking care of himself. I hope he's in good place. I hope just the best for him. So that's what's going on.
Yeah, and for us, like it was an honor to get to know him over the course of the
Yeah.
season as a goaltender to get to know him. And I kept trying to have Veggie on the show as well, but I've had Connor on the show, and you've just got such great personalities and people and character
Yeah.
in your locker room.
Oh yeah.
It's that's hard to do, and it's phenomenal. Do you happen to know by chance, did Connor get all those letters? Do we know if he ever got
I,
those letters from the fans?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
When the player get on the program,
You just leave
you
him
don't get
alone?
in contact with him. Yeah, exactly. I leave him alone. He has my numbers. If he
Right.
calls me, where he is in the world, I will be there for him. So there's no problem. But I don't want to have pressure, or
Right.
I don't want him to feel anything but support from me.
Yeah, and that's phenomenal. And I just hope he knows how much the fans love him and support
Yeah,
him. I
I agree
know
with that.
Veggie became the face of the franchise
Yeah,
because he played so many games in a row.
yeah,
And I constantly was on the radio talking about how as a goaltender, that's what you want. And people were
yeah,
like, "Oh, what about the work management?" I'm like, "Oh, there's ways. You got
yeah,
e-bugs,
exactly.
like me forever. I was an e-bug.
Yeah,
It's my
yeah,
favorite thing. Guys take their morning
yeah,
skate, they take 20 shots, they get off the ice, or they take
exactly.
as many as they
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
And I thought
exactly.
you did a phenomenal job with that. Big announcement with Keller, Cooley, and Kesselring now with Team USA.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good.
yeah, phenomenal. And how do you feel about that? There were some injuries during the Four Nations. Does that play in your mind or not? Or are you just like, man, that's just amazing opportunity, and I hope the best for
Are you driving your car every day?
him. I'm driving my car every day.
Are you crazy? There's accident every day. There's people are dying on the street every
Love
day.
that
Why are you driving
analogy.
your car?
I
You know
love
what I
that
mean?
analogy.
That's you're a hockey player. You play hockey. Yeah, there's injury. That's just the way it is. That's the same thing than driving your car. There's accident every day, but you need to be careful. You need to do what you have to do. And an accident, it's called an accident because you cannot control it. It's just it may happen, it may not happen, but you cannot live your life being afraid of an accident all the time. So for me, there's thing you can't teach in hockey. There's a few things, and one thing you cannot teach is how to react on an elimination game. How you react when really you have the gun to the temple and you need to execute. You need to do it. The pressure is high, the emotion are high. There's a lot going on, and in the book, but now it's different. You can study as much as you want at night, but then you arrive the next day, you have 60 questions in 60 minutes, the stress is going up right away. Even if you know what you're talking about, it's not the same when you have to do it, execute, and making a mistake, who might be costly, giving a scoring chance, and how you react to it. We can talk about how you have to do it, but doing it, it's something else. So they will have that opportunity. They will have the opportunity to fail, to make a turnover will cost a goal, or to miss an open net, or to miss a pass for a breakaway, or so on and so forth. And okay, in the pressure situation, how you deal with it, how you bounce back for the next shift to, first of all, move on. Second, stay focused on what you have to do and be composed on the next play. When this situation happens, not creating panic or whatever. Okay, you've been there and boom, you're executing it. We talk about it all the time, but having the opportunity to actually do it, that's awesome. And I will say for me, I think it's 13 time or maybe more with Hockey Canada. And we always been in the elimination game, quarterfinal, semifinal, final. I think there's only 2 times we didn't reach a final. So it's a lot of opportunity for me to grow. And when I started my first tournament, I remember it was in 2008. And oh boy, at some point, I remember like yesterday, it was a Swede, and they were coming from everywhere. And I was kind of, okay, that was a little bit of panic. I knew what we had to do, but the stress take over. And then now, you know, you get in that situation, and okay, the stress remained the same. The stress remained the same, but you're more in control. You know what you have to do in those situations. Okay, I've been there, done that. Yeah. Okay, you're nervous, but you're in control. You control yourself. So, you know, this year we had a discussion, and John Madden, 3 Stanley Cup, Selke winner. He's been on the ice when Mario Lemieux was against him across the ice, and they had the lead by 1. So he talk about stress. he knows what it is, and that's what he said. He said, if there's something, I was more stressed later in my career. It was more stress in my 3rd Stanley Cup than my first, because on my first one, I thought, you know, I will have 10 more chances to win the Stanley Cup. But he said, on my 3rd one, I realized how tough it was to get there. And now I was even more stressed than, we cannot screw that up, because that may not happen again. So he had the better control, but he said, I was way more in control. I was more nervous, but I was more in control. I knew what I had to do. I was composed. I was capable of executing way easier than my first one, where I was so nervous all over the place, trying to do too much. So Cass, Kells, and Cools, unless a catastrophe, they will play at least a quarterfinal. And then if everything go according to plan, then it will play the semifinal. And then they will play the final. 3 opportunity to play that extreme pressure game. There's over 100 countries who televise those games. It's not a North America thing, but if you go in Europe, like they will be in Stockholm, pressure will be on. Hang on.
And there's no better teacher than the game. And
Then the game. Exactly.
That's one thing I teach my goalies when I was coaching. It's one thing I teach young firefighters, young paramedics, and young captains as they're coming into it. You don't know until you're there. Experience is what matters.
And adversity is the best teacher.
For sure.
You win, you go home, everything's good. Okay, we're good. You lose. Wow, what do you do? No, you think about it. What will you change? What will you improve? What you have to do better? What will you do next time, etc., etc. Everybody wants to win, but that's why we often say, before you win, you need to lose. You need to learn. You need to have the deep cut. So the following time when you arrive in that situation, you're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure you don't get that cut again. So I think adversity is a great teacher, and they will have adversity. Hope for them and for us, they will succeed in adversity. But either way, for me, it will be great. If they succeed, they're champion. That's good, because that's contagious. More you win, more you want to win. So I hope they will win. If they lose, great. Adversity is a great teacher. Learn from it. Analyze it. Think about what you can do better. What will you change? How did you react in those pressure situations? How did you react when you made a mistake? What can you do differently? So on and so forth. So no matter what, it's unbelievable. I'm so glad they will be there.
And I imagine there's going to be more players from the Utah Hockey Club named to their countries. I expect to see Veggie and other players named to their countries. Yeah. So our team's going to get better thanks to the World Championships, and that our younger guys are going to get better in the World Juniors and college championships and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been fun to watch our draft picks and the other guys It's been a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
Bear, my friend, you got any time for vacation this summer?
I will. I will. I will. But not now because we're following playoff. I'm leaving this weekend, going see a few games. I will go across the continent a few times. I will go watch a few games. But next week I will come back here, and then we'll take some time with my wife. I think we're going in St. George, and she will tell me where we go. But we no, we talk a little bit during the winter. There's a lot of beautiful thing in Utah we want to visit, and we like to hike, both of us. So, well, I don't know what's exactly the itinerary, but we'll be in Utah for a while, visiting a little bit and taking a little bit of downtime. Not that long, maybe 10 days. No, then we need to get back to work, the playoff, et cetera, et cetera. Then it will be the draft, free agency, dev camp, and then I will go back home, see my parents, sisters, and take a little bit of vacation.
Outstanding. My wife planning our vacations, how I ended up in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
Southern Utah is amazing. You'll love the hiking.
yeah, yeah. She told you what you like.
Yep, exactly, exactly. And it turns out I do like it.
They know better than us, so absolutely, I'm in good hands.
Well, Bear, I want to thank you for taking time for being on the show. I want to thank you for an amazing season. I personally, I had so much fun, and I know the Utah fan base had so much fun, and you're a master of your craft. I love watching what you do with all this young talent you have. This team is so much fun to watch, so exciting, so much potential. And I know that you're going to take us to the next level. I can't wait for next season. I can't wait for the draft. And thanks again for being on the show.
I appreciate your time, Jay. Thanks for having me, and really happy about everything happened this year. So I'm looking forward for next year and keep growing our relationship.
All right. And that is the Utah Puck Report.